new car. So today we're going to have a look at the new HPI Jumpshot MT Flux. This is fairly new out. It's been a bit upgraded from the Jumpshot 2, and this is the monster truck MT version. HPI Jumpshot Flux, unboxed. You don't generally need to see me open a box. I'm sure you can manage that for yourselves. It's got the manual in every language going. It's a good idea to have a nose through here before you start, so you know where you're at. So the radio feels quite chunky. It's plastic, but it's quite solid, feels quite reasonable. The steering wheel's well weighted and got some foam cover, and it's reachable with a thumb. It's got a third channel if you need to add a horn or lights or something. Again, power button on the one end. Light comes on solid, light flashes, batteries are flat. We've got a bind button. We've got steering trim, keep the steering wheels central, throttle trim so it doesn't move when you let go of the trigger. We've got a dual rate control so we can reduce the throw of the steering, and we've got the endpoint adjustments. And to adjust these, they've got sunken screws and the little bits on the bottom you can pull out, so you get like a small tiny plastic screwdriver to adjust the endpoints with. If you wonder what the noise is, there's a printer trundling away, and it's going to be going there for days. Yes, we've got vertical metal chassis, plates either side, so that should be nice and strong. You've got a large plastic container underneath for a battery. We'll see if we can fit our big batteries in there in a minute. Just put there with the receiver in, and then this brushless speed controller. It's quite chunky, and a 4000 kV flux motor hanging on the back there. The slipper clutch behind a protective cover. Threaded body shocks. Plastic, but I suppose that's about right. So we don't have adjustable upper arms, they're fixed, so that's good, it'll stop them going. We've got metal drive shafts, and there's no bumper, although we do have a metal plate across the front, and the servo seems to poke out the front there. The battery case, large clip, and the door lifts down, so it's got a standard Deansy style T-plug on there. Oh, I push it in the top first. Look. There you go, so there's a big Fluorium battery fits in. Body shell's quite well painted, it's nice and bright, looks quite reasonable. Not the thickest Lexan body shell I've ever had, but it's quite comparable to a Traxxas Ruster shell and the associated rival MT10. Again, they're all fairly similar in feel. Even though this is brand new and out of the packet, there's a few things definitely you should check to avoid disappointment when you go out for the first time. So a good idea to go around, just check all the screws, make sure everything's done up properly. Don't just tighten them up even more, just back them off slightly and tighten them up to where they need to be. Same for the wheel nuts, make sure they're in the right place. And it's worth checking the mesh as well, just make sure that's decent. You don't want to go stripping the gear on your first go. Check the gear mesh. This one the gear mesh is good, everything's in place and tight, so it's been screwed together well, whoever did that. I've just popped a wheel off, they're quite a good size. The tyres are quite tough, obviously they're ballooned up quite a lot under speed, but that's going to be down to what's packed in the back. Suspension components are all like a plastic pretty much. There's a fair amount of give in these, so hopefully they're not going to bend rather than break. And obviously got some very long shocks, so plenty of travel on. Body posts, lots of adjustment on there. A lot of flex in there as well, particularly the front ones. So again, hopefully it's going to bend rather than break. Fully ball raced as you'd expect. These hex head screws throughout. New cover's quite nice in there, and it's got a little catch pot to open up to adjust the slipper clutch if you need to without having to take the cover off. Before we take our new car out for the first time, it's a good idea to check that it's working as you'd expect to work. You don't want to get out to a field and find you've got a problem. So, as usual, we're going to turn the radio on first, always radio on first, off last. We're going to plug the car in. And then find the on off switch. There we go. That's fine there. So we've got steering, so that's pretty responsive. And then we've got some gas as well. trims in. We've got a steering trim we mentioned earlier. So we can move the steering. So I'm going to set that to about straight. I can adjust it when it's on the move slightly. And then the throttle trim. Forward, brake, and reverse. We can steer right, and we can steer left. Surprisingly quick. They balloon well. That's a flat battery. The steering is very responsive. Yeah, so I suppose we need to go and see how fast it's going to go.